From the author of Spinsterella, The Strange and Unusual Romance and Spellbound, a darker shade of black comes the legendary Magic Children. Pick up the conclusions of the Spinsterella trilogy in paperback and e-readers this Halloween. What do Colin Kappernick and Jesse Williams have in common? If you have critical thinking skills, you'll be able to answer that question. When you look at your Jesse Williams and your Colin Kappernick, they use the exact same narrative and the exact same play from the exact same playbook of the white liberal to hustle the Afro-American Negro and get themselves elevated up to another level at their expense. And because most Negroes don't have any critical thinking skills, they can't see how Colin Kappernick is using the exact same play from the exact same playbook of the white liberal that Jesse Williams has used and Barack Obama used before him. And the first thing that would give you a clue to what this is that all three of these men are biracial. And because they are biracial and light-skinned, many Afro-American Negroes become spellbound at the sight of that creamy white skin and those crystal eyes. And because they become mesmerized, they follow their lead and listen to whatever narratives these guys preach, no matter how inane it is or how dysfunctional it is, because here's a light-skinned man paying attention to the Afro-American Negro community, and because he's paying attention to the Afro-American Negro, they believe that he is going to speak on their behalf and act on their best interest, not thinking about who is this guy, where did he come from, and why is he speaking out all of a sudden. These are questions that the Afro-American Negro never asks any of these biracial guys because they put them on a high pedestal and believe that they are on a level higher than the average black person. Now, the second thing about your Colin Kappernick and your Jesse Williams that is common is that they prove the point that anyone can be pro-black. Your Jesse Williams comes out of nowhere talking about how he's pro-black, and black people ran right to him after he was endorsed by the white liberal with that BET award, which came from its owner, Viacom. And everybody was sitting there talking about how pro-black Jesse Williams was when he made his speech. And the same thing with Colin Kaepernick after he made his display at the national anthem at one of these preseason games, taking a knee and not holding his hand to his heart to the Pledge of Allegiance. When he started making the statement talking about how he was doing this as a protest for police brutality, all the Negroes surrounded this Colin Kaepernick and went to defend him. And as the season went on, we started to see, anybody with critical thinking skills began to see the race hustle going on with your Colin Kaepernick. Unfortunately, when it comes down to the Afro-American Negro, he sat there and believed that Colin Kaepernick was doing this as a protest. No, it was never a protest because your Colin Kaepernick was not losing anything because according to the NFL rules, you can do whatever you want during the national anthem. However, he wanted to play the race card because he wanted to see if he could get more money through free agency, because your Colin Kaepernick was using this angle as a race hustle in the same way Jesse Williams was using it as a race hustle after he got the BET award. He was using the BET award as a step up, and he was using the pro-black angle as a way to elevate himself to a higher level on the white liberals' playing field. And Colin Kaepernick was using the exact same play from the exact same playbook, trying to elevate himself economically at the expense of the Afro-American Negro by using the race card. So he wanted to do this protest to stir up some controversy and to get his name buzzed and to start selling his merchandise and making money for himself. And he did that so he could generate controversy for himself to elevate himself to a higher level of popularity. And he thought he could use that popularity as some leverage once he got released from his contract. Because once he got released from his contract, he thought that this would make him an economic asset to other NFL teams once he got released from his contract. He thought, oh, if I go for this free agency and I've got this popularity, this can get me the buzz with NFL team owners. Unfortunately, the NFL team owners at the end of the season balked, and at the end of the year balked, and did not buy into his hustle. So now your Colin Kaepernick is doubling down on his hustle, talking about the NFL owners are racist. And that shows us again what this was all about. This is all about him using the black community to elevate himself economically at the Afro-American Negro's expense. Because Colin Kaepernick is just about getting himself a contract in the same way that Jesse Williams was about moving himself ahead at the black community's expense. Because after Jesse Williams got his BET award, he then laid low for a while and then announced the divorce of his wife. When in actuality, when he won that BET award, he had separated from his black wife and was dating white women. And then what the Afro-American Negro didn't want to admit was they got schnookered by this race hustler in the same way they're getting schnookered by Colin Kaepernick. Your Colin Kaepernick has all these people rallying outside of the NFL's offices here in New York, talking about NFL owners are racist, NFL owners are white supremacists, NFL owners are making Colin Kaepernick into some sort of victim, when the real manipulator is Colin Kaepernick, your light-skinned pretty boy, just like Jesse Williams, running another play from the white liberals' playbook, the exact same playbook that the Afro-American Negro doesn't seem to understand, that you keep falling for the same OKIE dokes over and over and over again, and people get ahead at your expense. The same way that Barack Obama became the president of the United States is the same way Jesse Williams elevated himself from a TV star on a soap to a higher level, and the same way Colin Kaepernick is trying to get money at the expense of the Afro-American Negro. He is trying to hustle these NFL owners into giving him a nice big contract for mediocre play. When you look at Colin Kaepernick's numbers, they are not on the same level of a Joe Montana, a Jerry Rice, not Jerry Rice, a Joe Montana, a Steve Young, a Drew Bledsoe, a Phil Simms, guys who have went to Super Bowls and won world championships. And they're not even on the level of a second-string quarterback like Jeff Hostetler, who came in 1990 for an injured Phil Simms and then took the New York Giants all the way to the Super Bowl. So I look at Colin Kaepernick's numbers, and they don't rate what he's trying to get. What he's trying to do is he's trying to use race as a way to elevate himself economically, make himself out to be this victim, and then shame NFL owners into giving him a contract at a higher price for low-value play. That's nothing more than a race hustle. Unfortunately, most Afro-American Negroes can't connect the dots and see how many of these light-skinned pretty boys use the Afro-American black community to outmove themselves forward at their expense, exploit them, and make them into this victim narrative so that they can have masses of a group to come and protest for them, and then use that group of masses to shame white liberals or white business people into giving them some crumbs from the table. This is a form of manipulation that many of these biracial and light-skinned people use. Unfortunately, too many Afro-American Negroes are spellbound by that creamy white skin and those crystal eyes to see the game that is being run on them by these light-skinned pretty boys and the race hustles that they run, because I can see the same play being used one more again on this Afro-American Negro. And the sad part is, it comes 1 year after Jesse Williams ran his play with that BET Minstrel Award, and then later on just filed for divorce from his black wife and is seen with a white woman. And I can tell you by looking at the pattern of events that if Colin Kaepernick were able to get his contract, we would see him, well, at least about a year or 6 months later, dropping his pro-black gimmick and then probably being on the arms of yet another white woman, because
When Colin Kappernick was making the big money, he was with a white woman. But all of a sudden, when his contract is about to come up, all of a sudden, he's married to a black woman, he's pro-black, and he's talking about all these black issues, donating money to black nonprofits, and all of a sudden, he's so conscious. And the sad part is, most Negroes aren't conscious to see the race hustle being run on them. They're so desperate for the attention of one of these light-skinned pretty boys that they can't see the same game being played on them over and over and over again. And the sad part is that they just can't think critically enough to say, hey, Jesse Williams just ran this play last year, and Barack Obama ran this same play in 2004, and we keep falling for the same okie dokes again and again and again. You would think somebody would finally connect the dots and see the game that these light-skinned pretty boys run on this Afro-American Negro, because when you look at Colin Kaepernick and you look at it from an objective and critical view, you can clearly see that he's nothing more than a race hustler out to try to hustle some dollars out of these NFL owners, only that the NFL owners are standing firm and saying, look, we're not going to pay for mediocre play. We already saw your stats and your numbers, and this is why we're not giving you a contract. Moreover, we're not giving you a contract because your behavior is disruptive to our team, because we need a team player. We need somebody who is going to be focused on blitzes, play actions, and the offensive line, not some guy who's out to make himself the center of attention, because football is an 11-man team sport, and in the NFL they need people to be on a team. And with this guy's controversy and disruptive behavior, he is showing that he is not focused on being part of a team. That is one of the reasons why he doesn't have a contract right now, is because those team owners are focused on one thing, and that is winning games and getting towards that Super Bowl, to getting that Lombardi trophy, because that's what football is all about, because the NFL is a business, and race hustlers like Colin Kaepernick, they're not concerned with the business of the NFL, they're concerned with the business of enriching themselves at the black community's expense, because at the end of the day, black people are the ones who aren't going to get anything out of this. Colin Kaepernick will get a contract, and then he will go right back to being involved with the same white women he was involved with before he became conscious and pro-black, when his contract was about to be up and he was about to get this free agency, because that was a choice he made, and he made that choice because he saw he could hustle this Afro-American Negro and get himself elevated at their expense. And it's a gamble that he's hoping that will eventually pay off, because everybody who's with Cap doesn't understand how they're being played for a sap. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.